can have it all. I can have it all.
Hello, everybody. This is Christy Whitman with the Quantum Success Show, where you can get your information and inspiration to create your desires. So today you can see I have a friend. This is the amazing Loral Langemeier. She is actually a money expert. So we're going to be talking about money today. And those of you that go, money. No, we all need money in our lives. We all, as human beings, have agreed we need to be able to have this conversation and have a good conversation about money. And when we think about money, when we feel about money, we're excited about it because that's what attracts us to us and doesn't repel it from us. So you got to watch your own stuff between your ears about money. So yes, we're talking about money because she's a money expert. And she is a sought-after speaker. I'm sure you saw her in the movie The Secret. She's an entrepreneurial thought leader, best-selling author of 5 different books, who she just has a relentless mission to change the conversation about money and empower people around the world to become millionaires. Now you might be saying, I don't want to be a millionaire. Okay, but maybe you want more money. Maybe you want to get out of debt. So maybe some of you do want to become a millionaire. Listen to what Loral has to say because she is the CEO and founder of Live Out Loud Incorporated, a multinational organization, and she shares her best advice without hesitation or apology. I love her directness. It's one of the things I love about Loral. What really sets her apart from other wealth experts is her innate ability to hone in on the skills and talents of everyday people, which she calls average Jill and Joes. And she has created, nurtured, and perfected a 3 to 5 year strategy to make millionaires out of those average Jill and Joes. She has served thousands of individuals worldwide and created hundreds of millionaires through her wealth building education, keynotes, workshops, products, events, programming, and coaching services. The greatest luminaries of our times, including Bob Proctor, John Gray, J. Conrad Levinson, Michael Gerber, T. Harv Eker, just totally sing her praises. What I love most about Loral is that she is a believer of having it all. She is a single mother of 2. She really is being that woman out there that redefines the possibility of all women to have it all, and raising her children very consciously and having this very important conversation about economics and financial responsibility and all that. And so she is dedicated to both men and women. So you, those that are in this family, to helping you become millionaires or whatever level you want to get to so you can really enjoy your life and spend it with those who you love most and experience those things that you want to most in life. So Loral, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Christy. It's great to be here. It's good to see you again.
Thank you. I know, always a pleasure. So you are known as the Millionaire Maker, and it's such a great title because you've helped people become not only millionaires, but some people, like I said, maybe don't want to become a millionaire, but they become financially free. And I know we all have a very big range of what that looks like in our own lives. So you talk about there's a difference in the attitude between those who become millionaires or financially free and those who don't. Can you share what some of those are?
Oh, it's huge. And I've done, thousands and thousands of millionaires. And what's interesting now is the economy is so rich right now. I mean, I've just actually in the last 48 hours just became owner of 2 more companies, and I have an offer on the table for another one later today. Wow. So the difference is huge, the opportunity thinking. And it's not opportunity just for opportunity because it's all about me. And I think that, Christy, what you said, it's between your head. So many people have such an interesting excuse to be lazy around money. And I'm just going to say it like that because the truth is, rich people are bad. No, you choose how you want to be in life. That's just an excuse for you to sit on your rear and not do anything. So it's really that bigger calling and mission about what is it that you're here for? Like, I'm here to change this conversation about money and have these quality conversations and be right in there and, be that woman thought leader to do it. And so it's the attitude is really a purpose of I have a bigger thing to do on the planet. Making money in really its rawest form is about serving other people. And one of the things, Christy, one of my new talk tracks I've been working with a lot is, your checkbook, and this is folks that are listening should write this down. Your checkbook is in direct proportion of the lives you serve. Because when you really think about it, the people who are doing the most work on the planet are doing big work. We make a lot of money, and we're not making it because we need it. We are so handled. Me and my family are so handled. This is about other things. It's about the possibility of giving scholarships to kids. It's, that's what our charities, financial literacy for kids. It's about, right now my daughter and I are starting to do TV together. So it's a mom, daughter, and money show. And she's 10. And I'm going to be writing a book in the next year. I'm just finishing up with a publisher, connecting, which who she's going to be, of writing A Man Is Not a Plan. I'm going to write a book to my daughter about the stages of life as a woman that she's going to go through. And men are fabulous. I just got married to a Canadian, so I'm actually not officially legally single anymore. But they're not your financial plan. And I think women, I was on a panel. I know I'm answering this in a lot of different ways, but I was on a panel with women just recently, and the victim mentality almost made me like, oh, I was like, you've got to be kidding. Oh, us poor women, we're paid less. And I just cut, me, Christy. I just said, we're paid less because we don't ask. We're paid less because you don't just have any deservability about who you are. My money story. I make more money than my men counterparts. I know I do. So it's not a man-woman thing. Yeah. And it's not about just how much money. Like you said, financial freedom for some people, it's be 100,000 hour. You don't have to be a millionaire.
Right.
But claim the conversation, lead the conversation instead of thinking it's scary. The other thing I'm telling women over and over is lean in and learn it. If you don't learn it, you're just abdicating your responsibility, which is a victim side of the conversation. Absolutely.
And I love that you're saying that because, we do have this victim role that we play and we use money as the excuse. I'm so tired of seeing so many people struggle with this thing called money. When you really think about it, it's green energy. It's energy. And we attract it by what we think we can deserve or what we feel worthy of having. And, the things that come through, we might get this fantastic idea that would make us millions, or like you said, $100,000 might make you financially free. But we go, oh, I can't do that. I can't. It's like we just shut everything down and we totally repel the money that is available and around us all the time and the opportunities that are there. We repel it with our limiting thoughts.
Well, and the one thing too about the limiting thoughts, and I've been doing a lot of, I do a lot of NLP and linguistics training. I mean, I train with some of the best mentors in my, space as well that are teaching me. And when you really come down to that energy and receiving. So I'm going to say a couple things about it. I think we all get great downloads. But here's what I notice about a lot of people. They're so worried about themselves, as Bob Proctor says. When you're nervous, you're worried about yourself. Nervous energy is yourself. It's not what's an outward curious energy. So I've been really working with a lot of my clients to stop being so worried about themselves and get curious about other people's lives. Because when that information comes in, like I get downloads, you get downloads. I mean, it comes in volumes. People say, how can you do so much? You know what it is? I've really just discovered just through my coaching is because we give it up. We're not like, we don't receive it and then hoard it because we're scared to go in business or we're scared to do something or somebody's going to rip me off. No one's going to rip me off. I mean, I do that 3-day workshop, guaranteed money in 3 days. Why is it that I'm one of the only people that can guarantee money in 3 days? It has never been ripped off. In 11 years, I've been doing the show every month. It has never been ripped off. It's never been attempted to be ripped off because it's not in the energy to be ripped off. So this scarcity, weird energy that everybody has about their download, because I think everyone does have an amazing gift as a download. But if you don't give it out, you're not getting any more.
Right.
So, somebody asked me the other day, well, how is another book coming to you? Because I keep giving everything. Everything that comes in, I give out. I give in, I give out. I'm just in constant movement of the energy of my knowledge, and the knowledge is where my money is, and it's just this constant flow. The other thing I speak to women specifically about, which kind of is intense, but I always say, you all have a gift and a talent. So if you don't give it back to the world, that's another way to say it, you're not serving anybody. So in your little nervous, I want to work all by myself out of my home and stay small, you're ripping people off because they need what you have. And I think it's the most selfish move to stay small.
Yes.
And the more I'm saying that, the more it's kind of waking some of these folks, and not it's men and women, but it's like, wake up. You want to have money. You have amazing gifts. You're not willing to grow a business. So you're kind of hoarding them. And so I think it's selfish. So it's a different perspective of, it's not just about the money, but it's about the vehicle to give your gift. And it cannot be for free, or it's a complete ripoff to the gifts, that I think are spiritually given to us.
Absolutely.
So,
I feel like the download that we get is coming from the only one that can give us a download, and that's the giver, that's the creator. And we a lot of times we either, like I do, I get excited about it, like you do, we like go, yes, how can I get this out? How can I share this, right? And then we get financially rewarded from that. Or what happens is someone just doubts themselves to death, or they talk themselves out of it, or someone just sits with it and they don't do anything, and there's no energy that's generated, so it just dies. It's like it just loses any type of momentum that it would have created. So I totally agree, Loral. Yeah. Imagine that. So you say that people don't become millionaires by themselves, that they actually need a team of people to become wealthy. So I'd love for you to explain that, and then maybe share some of the keys to doing that.
Yeah, I actually coined the term the team made millionaire, because you don't ever do it by yourself. You've had, a spouse or a partner, you've had an assistant, you've had a bookkeeper, you've had a lawyer, somebody, even your children, have influenced you to become a millionaire, and then honestly given you the space. Like I got, when Logan was born, I had an amazing tribe. I still have an amazing home tribe of people who help, with my home life. And as women, they have this real guilt thing. And people, I say, well, how aren't you guilty about going on the road and doing all this stuff? And it's like, no, I wasn't. Maybe because it was the way I was raised on a huge German farm family. I was raised by a tribe of aunties and uncles and, people. So I think it's fine that my kids are influenced by other people, not just me as their mother. So I intentionally put them in situations where they're influenced and cared for. John DeMartini has been an amazing friend and mentor and coach to me. And he said, when I got into these moments sometimes of being a single mom, and, my son was really frustrated, and we went, to the world ship, and we did, $2,000 an hour of training with him. And he said, and he told, Logan, and I tell this to a lot of parents to speak to their children, is, you're born of a master. So you don't have a choice to be mediocre. Like, you don't even get to entertain that in your lifetime, is what John told my son. He said, so your masterful mother has to be in the world. That's what her calling is. It isn't just to be your mother. That's only one of many things that we're here to do. And I share that more and more with women, because they need to get off of this, I'm the only one, or I'm being a poor mother because I'm not always around. Heaps of people are going to influence your kid. And in fact, when they get older, they're going to appreciate the diversity you've allowed their life to be in. So I think there's a huge tribe, which then goes back to Team Made Millionaires. So I always talk about my home tribe, because I think that's critical, just as parents, whether you're single mom, single dad. I mean, my husband I married was a single dad for 6 years, as well. So it's a different way to be in money. And then the other thing about being on a team, and again, I was on an all male panel. You can imagine I'm in the male space of money. And the number one thing every one of us said that would have caused us to be a millionaire faster, it has maintained our millionaire status, is our team. Like, and women do this, it's interesting. That panel I was on last week was like, just because we're victims about, well, I really want to, be home with my kids and be a stay-home mom, which is fine, but then don't be a victim about no time. And I said, well, that's fine if you want to stay home, but then you need to hire a team to get the stuff done. Like, stuff has to get done. Your website has to get done. Your apps have to get done. Your copy has to get done. Your books have to be written. Like, all this has to be done. You don't have to do it, but you don't hire fast enough. Yeah. So one of the key things I tell people, like one of the fastest, I'd say the biggest costly mistake is I didn't hire fast enough either. And again, like every panel I'm on, you say, what's a mistake? And also, what's the first thing to do? It's get a team. Get an assistant. Stop answering all your phone calls. I haven't answered emails in months. I don't ever plan probably to answer emails again. I got a new app coming out next week, so I can't wait to share that with everyone. And through my app, I'll communicate, better deliverability. Like, I have a lot of people who help. And the reason I can say yes to even companies in the last few days is and here's how I want people to think about it. You should write it down, because it has to sink in a little, is I say yes and figure out who on the team is going to take the role. And then I actually share, because when there's that much money, you can be generous. So I figure out who's going to be teammates on all the different teams that I run. And then really, as a leader and now multi-millionaire, like, I don't do a lot. I lead a lot of teams. Yeah. And that is probably the biggest energetic shift for a lot of people, especially women who like to do it all. Right. You aren't going to be doing much. And I know when people say that, what do you mean you're not doing much? I'm on calls almost all day long, but I'm leading teams of people to do things for me. It's not that I'm incapable of doing them. Like, if I had to, I could fix a PowerPoint, but why would I? I can make a 2-second phone call and it could be done. Yeah. So I think team is the biggest mistake and slow down. And it's the number one thing they need to do.
I love it. And I so agree with you. So agree with you. Yeah, I was actually just having a conversation with JJ Virgin this last weekend, and she was so brilliant. She was in front of the 8 ball. She actually hired someone when she was in college to do all of her errands and go get her dry cleaning and do her laundry and stuff like that, because she figured that she had to pay for her college, so she had to either be working or she had to be in college. So all the things like grocery shopping and running and doing all the personal errands, getting the money, depositing checks, all that kind of stuff, she hired an assistant to help her way back then so that she could focus on bringing in money and then doing her studies. I was like, I got that now, and I got that about 8 years ago, but in college, that's like so brilliant. You just bought yourself so much time. It's amazing.
I did it at 19. Same deal. I did it at 19. And to me, it was just kind of normal. First of all, I hate cleaning and I hate doing laundry and I hate doing all those things. So I don't want to do them. I can go make money and pay people that like to do them.
Right.
So I did that early on. And once you get used to it, you will work, be active. You'll do whatever you need to have that support in your life. Because if you don't have it, you get to do it all. And when you really look at a life, it takes a lot. Whether you have kids or not, the bigger your organization, the more people you need to help. And I can't imagine, like, people say, well, what if everyone left you? I said, well, they won't. I mean, pay well, and I make them partners in companies. And that's also, as you get bigger, the way that you keep growing, that I'd say, oh, by the way, I'm going to be on this season 9 in Shark Tank, by the way.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, because I've been sharking before Shark Tank was even around. But to that reason, the reason I can do those companies is I'm willing to have partners. Like, you got to have help. And I think so many people are like, well, I don't want partners and I don't want employees. Well, to me, think through what that means, Christy. That means I want to do everything. I want to work my ass off. I won't sleep because there's only 24/7 in every one of our days, and there's not enough of you to do it all.
Right.
So when people say, well, I don't want employees and I don't want to do, I'm thinking, stay small and good luck with that miserable life you're designing, because I can't imagine not having people.
Well, that's why I always say you can have it all, but you can't do it all. And I have a having it all life because I delegate, and I've got an amazing team. Even at home, I've got support. I've got a cleaning lady. I have a nanny for my kids. I've got an amazing husband that's there when I need to travel and takes care of the boys. I mean, I do have a team, and I've had a team for a while, and I would 100% agree with you. It's like I can't do what I do even just in my business area without the amazing, I call them my dream team. I have an amazing dream team, and if someone's out of alignment, I'm clear. I don't want a nightmare team. I want a dream team, and I'll let that person go and hire someone and bring someone in that's in alignment so that it's always a good feeling environment for everybody and that they're top of their game. They're doing, I don't want to babysit people. I want to know that.
I can't stand babysitting adults. So if you're an adult and you need babysitting and like checking in all the time, it doesn't work.
Right.
Like, I need to keep moving. They need to keep moving. Everybody has their role. Everyone has their, I think Jim Collins called it, everybody has their seat on the bus, and every seat's important. But do your seat so no one else has to do your seat.
Yeah. But I wasn't raised like that. My dad is a mechanical engineer. He had his own business. He did everything. He was the cook, the, bottle washer. I mean, he was everything. And I saw that. He answered his own phones. And I remember years ago hearing from Harv Eker, it's like, you cannot grow past yourself. You have to hire. And I know so many people, as I train so many coaches, they're so afraid to hire a assistant because they're like, oh, I can't afford an assistant. I mean, I'm just starting out as a coach. How could I get an assistant? It's like what they're not getting, that if they pay the assistant $20 an hour and they're coaching someone for $100 an hour or $200 an hour, they're actually able to create more time to coach and bring more money in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But you know what a lot of that is too? I just wanted to point to what that psychology, that piece is. We're so trained in this occupational money conversation to get a job and trade time for money, that the association to even that is like, because I train so many people, this like is $20 an hour that continues. But if I'm only coaching three hours a day, like they're trying to match up the dollar and the hour for the dollar and the hour. And it doesn't work like that.
No.
It's all income, all expenses. There's cost of goods. There's just a whole different, money conversation. And, I've even gone back to, when I launched the Millionaire Maker book in 2006, I started doing gap analysis, money makeovers. And we've gone back to that because, I went really into coaching a lot of higher end people. And even them, I'm like, where are your financials? Like, why are you in this interesting energy about like things aren't working? I said, where's your P&L say? And I was realizing then, unless I stay on them every month with their P&L, their profitability, their cost of goods, their inventories, they aren't doing it.
Yeah.
And there's also, just because you have a bookkeeper and accountant doesn't mean in business they do it well for you either. You
Right.
have to train them too. And that's a whole workshop I'm going to be doing in Q1 of next year, is teaching people how to manage your bookkeepers and accountants for your knowledge. Like, what's your dashboards? What's your report as an owner? What should you be getting? Because what I'm seeing with so many of my clients, they don't know how to condition their people that they let touch their money, do anything with their money properly. So just got to keep talking about money. What's sad, and like you said earlier in the introduction, why I'm passionate still, is, this whole conversation is so skewed to the occupational, get a job, get your 401k, maximize, blah, blah, blah. That just doesn't work. We're so beyond that. Even in the school system, they're still teaching, Ward and June Cleaver and 2.2 kids in the white picket fence. And 62% of kids that go to school are raised by single parents. So everything is I call it a tipping point. It has to shift. Yeah. We're so technical. Parents don't raise, kids that way. Most, if they're not single parents, they're blended families. Like, nothing from these 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s is applicable anymore. But we're still conditioned by that. We still run our money life by that. And it's crazy making to me.
Absolutely. Well, I know part of your big mission is to really change the conversation. And just having this conversation with you is going to be shifting a lot of people and having popcorn go off in their heads. Hopefully, that's my desire here, to inform and inspire. So how important, you talk about having a mission or a reason, some people call it a why, for what you do towards becoming a millionaire.
Well, because once you've handled, again, your household, your personal needs, then it has to be about a bigger thing than more money into your checkbook. And then even if you want more money into your checkbook because you want to, maintain and sustain millionaire status, you still got to use a team, and you have to invest what I call off Wall Street. You don't invest in the stock market. No one I know wealthy really invests in the stock market. Like, I'm really heavy into gas and oil, real estate, and franchises right now. I love network marketing companies. I own several of them. So once you get the money, then it's about investing the money. But to really maintain and keep the growth, it's about a bigger mission. For me, it's changing the conversation about money. For some people, it might be, getting. I just met somebody who really has this cool autistic, product. Really, it's nutrition based that can reduce autistic tendencies in kids. And having raised autistic children, she's on a mission to do that. So it's got to be beyond you. It's something that you want to do in the world to make an impact, make an effect in the world. You want to create better nutrition, better health, better water, better something. So it's not just you. And unfortunately, I think we have too much of a consumer mentality versus a creating mentality. And the truth is, to be wealthy and to live in a very free and I'd say affluent economy, you've got to consume and create. And there has to be some balance. Like you and I, we're creating all the time, creating. And yes, we're consuming. But I know because of our creation and what we're creating and putting into the world, our consumption is actually much more efficient and smarter. And I'm not to say people don't consume smart, but they don't, because they don't know how to spend money. And that's a whole thing that, I've noticed too with my clients. And I'm probably the only money expert that now teaches how do you spend it when you have it. Because, everybody talks about how to make it, but then what the hell do you do with it once you have it? And you can't just throw it in a savings account. You just can't throw it in a money market account. If you really want to do something with that, how do you spend it appropriately? And then that starts with your kids too.
I love it. Well, talking about kids, I have, since they could even just talk, I've had money conversations with my kids. And, before they can understand, if I'm pulling up to an ATM, I'm like, Mommy put money in this, into the bank. I have a card that allows me to get out my money. This is not just a big money machine. My money's in there. I'm taking it out. The other day, my son Alex is like, can we go buy a bunch of Halloween decorations? And I'm like, no, because right now I'm being mindful about how I am keeping my money. And, sometimes we'll go to the toy store and I'm like, today, guys, go ahead and get a toy. Other days I'm like, and I do this sometimes just to make them aware. But I'm like, today, Mommy's not spending money. Today, I am saving my money. The money I have, I'm saving. And so they're aware that it's like, okay, it's not just about spending money all the time. It's about saving it, And so I love that you are wanting more and more people to talk about money with their kids. And I know that we've had conversations before that since an early age, you've had those conversations with your kids. So what are the important things you think people should really talk to their kids about as far as money?
Well, I start because I've traveled my kids all over the world. I mean, so like money is just, it's paper and coins. I mean, in its rawest form. So what is it, where does it come from? How is it made? How is it determined how much a nation makes? When the tooth fairy came to our house, and still does with my daughter because she's only 10, she gets, currencies from different places in the world. So sometimes she'll get a South African rand, sometimes she'll get a euro, sometimes she'll get a British pound, sometimes she'll get an Aussie dollar. Now I'm married to a Canadian, so we have lots of Canadian cash around. So that's just showing that money isn't all the same. It has a different value in different countries, especially, like a rand compared to the US dollar. I mean, it's 9 cents on the dollar. So just money, just talk about it, that it's not a scary conversation. It's required to live in this world. It's an exchange. If you want something, you're going to have money. How do you get money? You have to provide service to somebody. So just that whole conversation. And again, that choiceful conversation of knowing that today I'm going to invest and then tomorrow I'm not. Today I'm going to spend and then, tomorrow I'm not. So there's a consciousness versus how most people are raised is, I get my paycheck, which, by the way, just goes into your bank account. I pay my bills, and then I discretionarily spend what's left. That is so Ward and June Cleaver, 1935. I mean, that's not how it works. So, like with the kids program, I'm going to our largest summits next week. It's in San Diego. We're doing the Ultimate Millionaire Summit. Hundreds and hundreds of people are coming. And we have a business camp for kids. And so my daughter's 10 now. She's been to the camp for a long time. So she's writing a little book, The 6 Steps to Have Kids Should Have a Business. And then she'll teach it next week.
Wow.
So it's her first time actually teaching her 6 steps, but it's super simple because she grew up like in my womb first, but it's so simple. It's like, so what are you going to sell? You have to know what you're going to sell, and you have to know the price, and then you have to know the cost of what that's going to be. So if you're going to sell, a couple weeks ago we were at a show and she was selling smoothies. And so the cost of goods for the strawberries and the ice and the stuff was like $20, call it. And she made 30. And so we added it all up at the end of the day. And I said, well, how much did you make? She said 30. Said cost of goods, explained it all. She's like, oh, I only made 10. I said, well, how do you do the same with the same? You put less strawberries, because she was just piling strawberries in these little smoothies. I said, so what if you only put 3 strawberries in each? So then the next day she doubled her profits. So it's just teaching kids, what are you selling? What does it cost? What are you going to charge? What does it cost? And she calls selling, you have to convince them they need it. You have to convince them they need it. And when they say no, you just say yes again, because my mommy wrote the Yes Energy book. So anyway, those are her 6 cute steps. So she's writing this little
really
book
cute.
on the 6 steps, but it is that simple, right? And when you get the kids to be able to recite it out, and if they bump around at it and they don't do it all right, just let them know, like, what's your alternative? Getting a job?
Yeah.
And that just shouldn't even be in their alternatives. It's like, what can I sell that somebody wants? It's that simple. What do people want? Go get it and give it to them. You're going to be compensated, because that's capitalism.
Love it.
So it's interesting.
I love that you're teaching, your daughter and your son at such a young age, and that she's ready to write a book. I mean, that's just incredible. So good for you. And I'm so happy that you're teaching kids, and having adults teach their kids about this conversation, because I think so many adults grow up and their parents never talked about money. So now they're kind of like, okay, there's this big mystery thing called money, but I need it to survive in society. So I don't really know what to do or talk about it. I don't know much about it. So because this big scary monster, or it became something that was, the biggest fights that mom and dad had. So it's like they have this negative resentment against money. It's like, it's just the meaning that we put on this stuff, but we need it in order to have shelter over our head, and to go on fantastic adventurous vacations, and to send your kids to the best schools, and to eat the best food, that you get the nutrition in your body, so that you can live in optimal, and you have a high vibration, and I could go on and on. So I appreciate this conversation.
The one thing, Christy, I have to add this in to parents. One thing, if you're going to just start the conversation, is the first thing I always tell parents to do is sit down and tell them that it's okay that you didn't have the conversation right. Don't say you did it wrong. We haven't been having the right conversation. Could be the way to talk at a kitchen table, right? So we just haven't been having the right conversation. So I'm no longer going to say we can't afford it in our household, because when a child hears we can't afford it, specifically don't ask for it, it's a deservability I mean, you couldn't be cutting to the core of their self-esteem. And you say, well, I didn't even say they weren't worthy. Yes, you did. That's how they interpret it. It's every nanophysicist, every quantum physicist, everybody that knows anything about the energy of money and how it really works and what it does to you emotionally is when a child is said, when you tell a child, don't ask for it, or we can't afford it or whatever that is, the interpretation it is the worst thing. You might as well slap them. It'd be a hell of a lot less painful. I mean, it's that bad. So I always tell parents, acknowledge that it just hasn't been done right. And here's some new things we're going to do. So how are we going to afford things? What could we do as a family? What could we each sell? And just start a different conversation. And no conversation is a hell of a lot better than the negative one. I have to say that little piece because it just drives me every day that goes by that they keep doing that. They're just killing their children.
Thank you. Because, I've always done that with Alex, too. My son, Alex, is 7. He's a big asker. He's always asking. He's a lot like his mom. And I'm always like, that's great. He's always asking and it's given. And so I remember one day he comes up to me and he's got this Lego, thing. And he's like, I want this Lego. And I'm like, that's great. I am so excited for you to get it. And he's like, so when do you think you could buy it for me? And I think most parents at that point will go, can't afford it or no, or, stop asking or whatever it is. And I said, you know what I got to tell you? We live in an abundant universe and we have so many different sources that this Lego can come through. I'm not your only source. There's so many other people that could buy this for you, maybe for your birthday, maybe for Christmas, maybe just for a special occasion. It doesn't matter. Let's just get in the place of knowing that you're going to have it, excited to receive it. Don't look at me as your only source, and let's see what happens. Laurel, I swear to you, a day later, my dearest friend, Maxim's godmother, head of the QSCA, she sends Alex an Amazon gift card. And I'm like, Alex, you are a masterful manifester. Evelyn just sent you a gift card with the exact same amount that you need to buy this Lego. So, it's that kind of training where he's like, he's not looking just at me and I don't have to go, stop asking me. It's like, there's possibilities here. Let's look for them. Yep. So love it. So I know you have a free gift for everybody among the amazing generous information you've already given. So can you share with us? It's going to be underneath. It's a link underneath the video. So just would love for you to share the gift.
Yeah, so I want people to go to deadlyfinancialtraps.com. So a couple years ago, I looked at all of the things that people do that cause traps financially in their life. And we put this website together, and there's 4 deadly financial traps that you're going to find yourself in. So it's about a 30-second quiz. You're going to take a quiz, and you're going to see, are you in debt? Are you a stuck entrepreneur? Do you have lazy assets? Are you overtaxed? Those are kind of the categories. And very quickly, in less than a minute, I'll help you determine which trap you're in. And then you're going to go to a video where I'm going to tell you how to solve getting out of that trap. And then I'm going to go to one more longer video that will actually educate you on how to stay out of all of the traps always in your life. So over the course of the next few days, you want to allocate probably upward of 90 minutes to get some really good education. So make sure you're in a great space and, wide awake because you're going to take some notes. But you start very quickly. You just go to deadlyfinancialtraps.com. You take a quiz and off we go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Laurel. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and I'm just thrilled at what you're doing in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. It's great to see you and a great conversation. Thanks, Christy.
Thanks so much, Laurel. Okay, so everybody leave us a comment. Let me know what you're taking away from this amazing money conversation. And, it doesn't matter if you want to be a millionaire. There's something that you're longing or you're discontent about in your life as far as it relates to money. So figure out what it is that you want to do in your life. What would freedom look like for you? And know that you can create this. You may just need some more information on more training, or you may need to release some blocks and change the meaning that you're giving money. So leave me a comment. Let's continue the conversation. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye, Laurel. Thanks for watching. And here is a related video to watch right now. Also, check out my free webinars on creating whatever you want in your life using the universal laws that I explain in each webinar. So share your thoughts by leaving a comment and continue the conversation at ChristyWhitman.com.